Yeah, man. What I
That's
was
hot
saying,
shit
man.
right there,
You know what I'm saying?
man.
So what we gonna do? We gonna do.
We want you to be an activist. And don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. Yemen. Yeah, Yemenis. That's what they call them.
Yemenis, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Yemen is going through it. Yeah.
Getting their ass handed to them.
And then everybody just like, oh my God, Ukraine. Yemen been getting fucked up for a long ass time.
I mean, but that's what tells me how hypocritical people are, because they act like they care. Like, I mean, really, it's the next news story, and they move on.
Exactly. But they let people push their buttons and they get all emotional, and they'll also, that sounds like a gun. They also spend a whole bunch of money and send them a bunch of money because they got through pulling their heartstrings. I saw something on the news just the other day that said Biden is about to send them some more money.
More than the $750 he sent last week.
Yeah, more.
Well, I mean, honestly, that should tell people that it's not just about Ukraine, the Ukraine people. Like, this is personal. But he's got us digging in our pockets for his personal beefs.
Yeah, I don't think that's cool at all. I just want to play a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna go into democracy now, and we could chop that up.
I mean, honestly, I wish like, Putin and Biden could get in the ring. We put this shit on some pay-per-view.
Yep.
And watch them duke it out.
And that would be respectable. Everybody would respect that. But see, the problem with that is I don't know that people would feel good about the outcome, because people would be like, because Biden's going to get his ass beat. So they're going to be like, no, we can't, we can't go with the outcome of it.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
But I mean, he ready to try to bully him in other ways. I mean, shoot. You ready to pull your guns? I mean, shoot.
Yeah, so yeah, that's funny. Cause Biden, they say Biden got hands, but he didn't got old now. And I bet you. Oh, I've seen it. Yeah. Freaking Putin still works out.
Let his son go.
Yeah, his son gonna get his ass beat by Putin too. Putin does jujitsu. You know what I'm saying? He's in great shape.
Man, he goes takes dips in the damn broken ice.
Yeah. So and Hunter smokes crack. So who do you think's gonna win in a physical fight?
Yeah, I know that's a quick in and out. Like Putin gonna laugh the whole time.
It's gonna be over so fast.
What is this? This joke, Kurt. This joke.
That's funny, man. But look, you know what I would say about that? Also, I would say that the average Russian is a bit more rugged than the average American too. So, like, I think that if the average Russian went toe to toe with the average American, they'd probably win.
Bro, I wouldn't look forward to that kind of battle. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Brother got to do what a brother got to do. But at the same time, that's something I'm like, hey, bro, y'all what we gonna do this for it like this?
Yeah. Are you sure you want this?
Yeah.
Because that's what Russia is saying. I'm
gonna be like, I'm here. I mean, look, I got your back, but you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all, like, can we talk about this?
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure. Like a lot, they don't really want it, and that's what I forgot, because let me play this because Russia did a they did a test, a rocket test recently. It might have been today, It was intercontinental ballistic missile, and it could do like 7,000 miles or some shit like that. Or I don't know what the numbers are. 70,000 miles. I don't know what it is. Long range continent to continent ballistic missile test that was successful today or yesterday, really recently. So that's just a shout out to the world to be like, yeah, y'all don't want it, but if you want it, bring it because this is what you're finna get right here.
Say, bro, this dude been having that same type technology for the last at least 10 years. Like you talking about, they just I mean, maybe they did just test it, but like this was something that like they've been ahead of the game with for many years already.
Yeah, yeah. But the test is, yeah, I'm sure that they had it, but the test is just to show that we got functioning active equipment right now that works. See, look at this. See how it works?
Yeah, it's not a mistake. Like this is where I meant to send it right here.
Yeah.
What do you look? I'll let I'll have it slow down and say hello to you.
You know.
When it's passing over your house.
Yeah, so let me play this, and this is the Democracy Now, and I might skip through it. I'm definitely going to stop it as we go because she covers a lot of topics. This is her daily show. I think she's going to touch on that Russia thing a bit.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Russian President Vladimir Putin's declared victory in Mariupol after Russian forces laid siege to the southern Ukrainian city for nearly 2 months. Putin's claim of liberation for Mariupol came as fighters and civilians remain holed up at a massive steel factory complex. A Marine commander of the remaining forces made a desperate appeal for international help with an evacuation.
This is our appeal to the world. This could be the last appeal of our lives. We are probably facing our last days, if not hours. All of us, Mariupol Military Battalion of soldiers, more than 500 wounded, and hundreds of civilians, including women and children. We plead to take us to safety on the territory of the third-party state.
Let me pause it there. And the guy Zelensky of Ukraine, president of Ukraine, been screaming this whole time, "We're winning the war." Then I said this is what's gonna happen, and it probably it's not gonna be much longer, bro. Because like I said, Putin the whole plan is to get into this to put it to an end, not for this to drag out at all. And so this also shows how light-handed Russia is being, because this is a story about, they've taken the city, and then the soldiers and some civilians are holed up in a facility. Now, what is something that Russia could do to deal with that? But they're not doing that. They're just they're cutting them off. They're cutting off the supplies. They're surrounded, so they're waiting for them to surrender. They don't want to, and they've been light-handed with this throughout. And it's crazy that the Western media has been saying that Russia is being like killing civilians and is.
I mean, he just showed off his ICBM. Like, I mean, there's many things he could have done that could have been like over, like within seconds.
And that's not how.
Well, let's say minutes, because I mean, it's so big. It takes a few minutes for it to get set and prepared to go in whatever direction. I mean, I think in less than like 10 to 15, 20 minutes or something like that.
And so the thing is, a lot of those people they're ethnically Russian, and they sympathize with Russia, and Russia sympathizes with them. So he doesn't want to do that. A lot of those people are Russian people. So he's going through there really, really light-handedly, you know what I'm saying? Where he could have went through there and did this a totally different way.
A total sweep.
Russia had been considering storming the steel complex, but for now has opted to blockade it. In eastern Ukraine, the governor of Luhansk says Russia now controls 80% of the region as fighting continues along the 300-mile front line. Russia's military has test-fired a new intercontinental ballistic missile capable of delivering nuclear warheads around the world. On Wednesday, President Vladimir Putin said a test of Russia's Sarmat missile had succeeded in hitting targets nearly 4,000 miles from a launch site in northwestern Russia.
This truly unique weapon will strengthen the combat potential of our armed forces, reliably ensure Russia's security from external threats, and provide food for thought for those who, in the heat of frenzied, aggressive rhetoric, try to threaten our country.
Bro, does it sound like that dude is playing? Look at his screen at the beginning of this clip. Look who's on his screen. Hold on. Look at that. Isn't that General Maddox or whatever sitting right there?
Yep.
I don't know who the guy is that's underneath him, but
yeah, I don't either. But that's definitely our guy in the mid because there's somebody on the top of him
as well. And I was gonna say that I'm sure those are important people too. And you know, they look like they are paying very much attention to what he's saying. They look like they're hanging on every word.
But look, I'm gonna tell you, Maddox is a bad motherfucker. Like he a bad boy too. Yeah. But I'm gonna say it like this. Because I mean, it's not like, you know, Russia's just, you know, with outpower US like that. But he really, like, I mean, you gotta think about, like, he I think at this point, because of all the stuff that we know, he's got more right on his side.
Exactly. The moral fight, everything is on his side. So and also look at the might, the physical might that he has. So it's like, don't be stupid. That's what he's saying basically. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I know y'all like to talk. So
and y'all been talking a lot lately.
Yeah. So just look, I mean, hey, if this is the only moment you get a chance to shut the hell up, then let me show you something.
Yeah.
Weapon will strengthen the combat potential of our armed forces, reliably ensure Russia's security from external threats, and provide food for thought for those who, in the heat of frenzied, aggressive rhetoric, try to threaten our country.
We'll have more on Russia's missile test and the war in Ukraine after headlines. German officials have pledged to stop importing oil from Russia by the end of the year. Germany's foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock of the Green Party, made the pledge during a visit to Latvia Wednesday.
Phasing out fossil fuels is a double security factor. Apart from the Russian threat, it is clear that we will only be able to create sustainable security and peace worldwide if we also take resolute joint action against the climate crisis. This includes becoming CO2 neutral in Europe as quickly as possible.
Russia receives...
We know who Germany's pocket is there in.
About $1 billion a day from Germany and other European Union members from sales of coal, oil, and gas. Israeli warplanes bombed the Gaza Strip overnight, targeting what Israel said was an underground weapons factory. It was the second night of airstrikes on the besieged Palestinian territory this week. The assault came after Palestinian militants in Gaza launched a barrage of rockets at southern Israel. Many of them appeared to be intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome anti-missile system, though one rocket caused slight damage to a home in the Israeli city of Sderot. Meanwhile, in occupied East Jerusalem, at least 20 Palestinians were injured today as Israeli soldiers fired stun grenades, rubber bullets, and pepper spray to clear worshippers from the Al-Aqsa Mosque after dawn prayers.
And even the way she's covering this story is backwards. She was like, oh, one of the rockets landed in somebody's backyard in Israel, but nobody was hurt. The mosque. Oh, yeah, it was a bunch of people hurt at the mosque. Yeah.
This follows a similar crackdown last Friday that saw hundreds of Palestinians arrested and over the weekend over 150 injured. On Wednesday evening, Israeli police in Jerusalem blocked a march of more than 1,000 Israeli ultra-nationalist protesters from reaching the old city's Muslim quarter, as many waved Israeli flags and shouted death to Arabs.
And that's another thing I wanted to point out a bit right there, because, like, you know, you could clearly see what's going on if you really open your eyes. Like, one side is saying death to Arabs. The other side is not saying death to Jews. You know what I'm saying? And also, you also got a group that's completely Aboriginal peoples. And those are the ones that's getting, you know, fucking rubber bullets and missiles.
But who's funding this war?
Exactly. And then I was gonna say the other side is a occupying force. They're not from there. Like those Palestinians,
they were given that land.
They've been there forever. Like their ancestors' blood spilt on that land.
Well, no, I'm talking about the people that's the Israelis.
Right.
The Palestinians have been there.
Yeah.
But
right. So, and then it's weird how, because I didn't understand this dynamic, you know, whenever I was hearing about the conflict in Palestine, they always be saying, well, they've been fighting in the Middle East forever. It's always been this way. And that's how I thought about it. And I never went any, you know, further into it. But if you just look at it from the outside without even going into the intricate details, it's really simple what's happening. You know what I'm saying? They keep on saying that, you know, the Jewish, you know, Israel people are defending themselves, like they got a right to defend themselves. Okay, they do, and that's true. But who the hell is here that's not really supposed to be here? And who, you know what I'm saying? Can we establish that?
Who's really defending what?
Yeah, you know, exactly. So they're flipping it, making it look like, oh, and that's the same way they did with the Indians here in Native, you know, the Native Americans here in the States. That's the same thing they said as they expanded west. It was like, oh, these poor little settlers and the Indians just coming through and just terrorizing them. Is that really what's happening? Like, come on.
Nicaragua's parliament has voted to shut down 25 non-governmental organizations that have criticized Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega. Groups banned include the Nicaraguan Permanent Human Rights Commission. This is the group's executive secretary, Marcos Carmona.
We regret this government is silencing the Nicaraguan Permanent Commission on Human Rights. We know they are affecting not only our institutions, but all people of Nicaragua. We were the only institution that documented the arbitrary abuses committed by different agencies of the state and by government officials.
Another group ordered closed in Nicaragua was the Luisa Mercado Foundation, which is run by Sergio Ramirez Mercado, an acclaimed Nicaraguan writer and former Sandinista who served as vice president under Ortega from 1985 to 1990. The Ortega administrations accused many of the organizations of accepting foreign funding and being involved in efforts to destabilize the Nicaraguan government. Here in the United States, the Justice Department says it'll appeal a federal judge's ruling that struck down a mask mandate on public transportation. Monday's decision by U.S. District Judge Catherine Kimball Mizell in Florida, a Trump appointee, voided the mask mandate for the entire nation. Judge Mizell was confirmed by Republican senators in 2020 to a lifetime appointment on the federal court at the age of just 33, even though the American Bar Association gave her a rating of not qualified. The judge's ruling blindsided Biden administration officials, even as they were considering allowing the public transit mask mandate to expire in May. In a statement, the Centers for Disease Control said it was well within its legal authority to protect public health when it ordered the mandate. The CDC added, quote, when people wear a well-fitting mask or respirator over their nose and mouth in indoor travel or public transportation settings, they protect themselves and those around them, including those who are immunocompromised or not yet vaccine eligible, unquote.
Oh, man. And that's showing Democracy Now! Doubling down on that shit, you know, because they got to protect the left. So, but I didn't know you had federal judges that were so powerful that can make a decision that would sweep across the nation like that. I didn't know that.
Well, one of the things that that's really been happening is that some of these judges and different politicians have been getting their bonds checked. So, and during a bond check, it's like, look, if you don't, you know what I'm saying, y'all keep pulling this foolishness, you test it, like if you're going against the Constitution or whatever that fight is, and somebody put a lien on your bond. In most cases, they don't want that because that's like their livelihood. Like if their bond gets taken, or somebody is able to, I don't, as far as a lien, as far as being able to put sue them based on something that they're doing illegally or whatever. A lot of times they'll back out, or like somebody's actually going to enforce the law as it should be. Like how we discussed, actually putting down the law, or either we're going to listen to what people say. I think that's kind of what's going on in that.
And the same thing, Ron DeSantis did something really similar because the Don't Say Gay bill that passed, and then Disney had a problem with it. Disney's in Florida.
Yeah.
And Disney is like, a lot of our employees are LGBTQ or whatever. So, we're not going to stand by this. So Ron DeSantis was like, okay, that's cool. But, all those it's like taxes that Disney avoids. Like, it's a lot of stuff. Like they have their own jurisdiction because they do their own constructions and zoning and all of that. So, but everybody else has to pay all these permits and, basically their taxes whenever you do any kind of constructions and stuff like that. So Disney gets to avoid all of that for whatever reason. But on the books, they're supposed to pay this stuff. But so Ron DeSantis was like, you know what? That's cool. So that's y'all gonna have to start paying for all that shit that y'all be doing that y'all know y'all supposed to be paying for, but y'all not. Like when y'all do construction and all of this stuff. So that's kind of like the same thing, what you were saying, that's actually the law. Like DeSantis is using it as a political tool. And like I said, I think he's going to run for president. That's part of the reason why he's doing this. But at the same time, it's still the law. And it's still not fair that, the people outside of Disney has to pay these same, fines or whatever, those taxes basically, but Disney doesn't.
Well, I mean, the thing that I think most, because I mean, just because Disney provides a lot of jobs in Florida, like as a corporate entity, whether it's, because I mean, Disney is the big umbrella of all of the other different things that runs through it. So they get tax breaks because they're providing jobs in the state of Florida and otherwise, other places. So I guess they, it kind of makes sense that they do it, but at the same time, I mean, if they're gonna violate those very same people that they're supposed to be providing jobs for, or even the kids, whether they work for them or not, or because you're really going kind of far, like you said, across boundaries when you're messing with our kids. So I think that's where DeSantis is like, look, we got to draw the line somewhere. We need to, either I can cut you off or you can fix all this. Because I mean, they done put so much money down there in Orlando. Like it's kind of late for them to try to be like, oh, I'm gonna just back out. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, they're not gonna move. No way. I mean, if they do, it would take a long time and it would cost them money. Yeah. So I think they'd rather just pay. You know what I'm saying? Than to move.
I mean, or stop trying to push this sexual agenda. I mean, you can have all your benefits that you've been doing, what I'm saying, money wise, but you can't do this to our children. You can't be trying to impress your mindset on other people If they get it, they get it because that was just a normal, natural way, the same way you and the generation before y'all got it, because that's what's in your, in your DNA, your heart, or whatever. You allow these as kids to get it the same way you got it.
Yeah, but I agree with you for the most part. But I think he's using it politically. But I don't agree with you on the point of it does on the surface sounds like it makes sense, because they're always their argument about the producing jobs. But I don't think so. I don't think it's right that that everybody else have to pay taxes and they don't. I'm sure there's small businesses right there outside of Disney who got to pay those same damn taxes, but they're not the big boy company in town. You get what I'm saying? It's not fair.
Well, I mean, life has never really been fair. I mean, nothing about it. And but because of their positioning, I mean, one doesn't exist without the other. Like, I mean, you got a bunch of broke people. Like, if you can't give them jobs, the government is supposed to find ways to get the people to have jobs. So when they bring people in, that's main. But I'm saying, like, I mean,
it does make sense.
Trying to justify it. I mean, I don't really have a true argument, but that's just what it is. That's just how it works.
Yeah, I don't agree with it though. Let me play some more.
White House has finalized a rule change to the National Environmental Policy Act that restores several key provisions to the landmark 1970 law. The Trump administration gutted environmental and community safeguards under the act in 2020 when it moved to speed up the approval process for major infrastructure projects while exempting some projects from environmental review entirely. In more climate news, a wildfire burning north of Flagstaff, Arizona, exploded in size Wednesday to more than 20,000 acres, fanned by high winds and fueled by dry grass and brush. Arizona and other western states are suffering an unprecedented mega drought brought on by the climate emergency. 11 large wildfires are currently burning across the Southwest and Southern Plains, with some 8 million U.S. residents under fire alerts today.
I was watching that, and that's a big deal. I ain't gonna lie, that's some scary shit, right? Like, I definitely wouldn't want to go to sleep. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable going to sleep because the fire could go in any direction and end up, on your house in no time.
Say, bro, it's so dry out there, man. Like, I mean, shoot, they can produce rain in some places. They can't produce no damn rain out there.
Well, you know what I always say, this is us not living in balance with nature. You know what I'm saying? Some places shouldn't have houses, but if they do have houses in certain places, they should be built in a certain way that can deal with these kind of conditions. Because see, we have this cookie cutter corporate race to the bottom profit model for everything, so they build houses that are fucking tender. So, like, if the houses are built in this area, those houses should be built in a way where, like, if there's a fire that comes, then okay, it comes over, but it doesn't destroy the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could do that. They could do that. We have technology for that. I wonder why we don't build that shit. What is it called? I can't think of what it's called. It's a type of kind of board. It's not really a board, but they call it something board. That shit does not burn. Like, you can't light it on fire. Like, there's nothing you can do to make that shit burn.
The wall board you talking about? Like,
what is it called? I can't think of the proper term for it. But that shit doesn't burn. I used to do a bit of construction.
Sheetrock?
It's not sheetrock. Sheetrock burns like paper. No, it's really hard. It doesn't matter what the name of it is. It's a very common use material to build with, but they don't build the whole structures with this. They only use this for certain parts of the structures. So, but I don't see why you can't just make the structure out of this, and then it'd be completely fire retardant. I think they could build all homes that way. But if the homes are in in an area that's prone to wildfires, then I think that it should be common, to build the houses that way.
Yeah. I mean, you would think that maybe it would be different material that is used. I mean, because we need to stop using up all the damn wood, cutting down trees, and just
in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, use metal.
I don't know about metal, because metal, you got to pull that out of the ground too. But there's other materials that you can use. There's also what is it? Hemp. That shit is fire retardant too. There's a hemp. What is it called? Hemp wood or something. I don't know what the fuck it's called. But you can build with it, and it's also fire retardant. And it's made out of hemp. And hemp grows back. It's a weed. It grows back really quickly and without no fucking effort. And you can clear that and let it grow right back again, and then keep doing that. Why we don't do that is crazy. And we talked about this before in the show, how in early United States, hemp was a really important commodity, and it was used for building and all kinds of shit until they made it illegal all of a sudden.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can have that discussion another day, but yeah, that was a very, very wide. I mean, shit, just regular marijuana. You know, whether you want to look at it from the marijuana to hemp, whatever. Yeah, it was widely used. I mean, paper, bags. But I mean, shit. Right now, they're showing that there's like 30,000 different uses for it.
And it grows like a weed. It doesn't. Trees take years to grow back.
Well, I mean, even clothes. Like, I mean, shit. You can have a whole line of clothing wear because of him.
Yep, it's crazy. We should be using it more. It's so dumb.
The Military Times is reporting the Pentagon's moving forward on a plan to build and test portable micronuclear reactors to power military bases overseas and in remote areas in the U.S., despite warnings about high risks involved. In 2018, the Army published a list of possible sites where the micronuclear reactors could be deployed. Sites named included Guantanamo Bay, Diego Garcia, Guam, Fort Buchanan in Puerto Rico, and Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan.
I want to make a comment, but
Texas and Tennessee are both preparing to execute their oldest prisoners on death row today. In Texas, 78-year-old Carl Bunchen is scheduled to be killed just a week after he had to be rushed to a hospital due to chest pains. Longtime death penalty critic Sister Helen Pajan has called for Texas to halt the execution. In a tweet, she wrote, quote, "Carl can barely walk and has been diagnosed with vertigo, arthritis, and other chronic illnesses. What does this execution have to do with public safety?" she asked. Meanwhile, the state of Tennessee is scheduled to execute 72-year-old Oscar Franklin Smith today in Ohio.
So that's important, I think, because we were going in a direction of not doing any more executions like that. And but now we're going back in the other direction of doing more executions again. And I think it's tied to, like I said, with the, we got abortions are becoming more and more illegal. And now they're starting to kill more people like they used to do in the past. I don't agree with capital punishment unless you're 100% sure of the guilt of these people. And I think that in a lot of times they're not. And I think that you should never, kill someone that's innocent. So you need to make 100% sure that these people are guilty or whatever. And with our system that we have, I don't have much, faith that they are even trying to determine guilt or innocence. So I think that they, execute innocent people all the time, and they don't care. No sweat on their conscience.
Yeah, I'm be very careful about how I say this because, like you said, something key is that the whole idea, like, because it's like, because my first thought is like, here's somebody who's 78 years old. I don't know how long they've spent so far, but usually it's probably 30 years goes by, 20 plus years go by before they even do an execution. So I'm like, okay, if this person, like they spent all this time in prison, they probably rehabilitated. They're not killing the same person that created the crime, had this crime 20 something years ago. And like his sister was saying, it's like, I mean, what are you proving here with this execution? Because like he holds no threat to anybody. Like he's already on his deathbed. Like what,
What's the point?
Exactly.
And isn't the point of the prison is supposed to be rehabilitation? That's what they call the all the facilities, rehabilitation.
And this is me not knowing any crime. I don't know what he did, because I'm gonna tell you, like most crimes, and even pedophilia is the only one that I can really say is like, these people need to pay, drastically. But I don't know. I mean, if you're gonna hold this man hostage for 20, 30 years and then just to prove your point I mean, shoot, you don't spend enough money on this guy for all this time. Like, I don't understand. What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? I bet you they wouldn't give that same money to a homeless person.
And
too much like
intensive
right.
care unit doctor accused of killing 14 patients has been found not guilty by a jury on all counts. Prosecutors accused Dr. William Husso of murdering 14 patients by giving them excessive doses of the powerful synthetic painkiller fentanyl. Husso's defense team argued he was attempting to give comfort to critically ill patients in severe pain. He still faces 10 civil lawsuits filed by families of his former patients. Florida's Republican-led Senate has voted to eliminate Walt Disney World's self-governing status. The move is widely seen as retaliation by Governor Ron DeSantis and his allies over Disney's opposition to Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay law. In other news from Florida, the Republican-led state Senate has approved a new congressional map that critics say is designed to curtail Black political power in the state. Florida State Senator Chevron Jones criticized the redistricting plan.
And to Governor DeSantis, I'm not going to call what you're doing a culture war anymore. I'm going to call it just what it is. Okay. It's a racist tactic that you're doing, and you know what you're doing.
Do it again. And in Georgia.
That's an important story that they've rolled right over. And then a lot of people not going to really understand it. And it's related to the redistricting. And I try to talk about it all the time because I know people don't really understand it. They pretend to understand it. They don't get it at all. And so, but the redistricting it's used. The thing is, what I have to say is both sides do this. The Republicans and the Democrats both do this, where they draw up districts that benefit them politically. It's agreed upon. Both sides agree upon this. Mm-hmm. So, but that doesn't make it right on either side. That both sides are wrong in a lot of cases, the way that they draw these districts up. And so what's happening in Florida is it's gonna make it less. So when you have like a large Black area, then that creates like a voting block there. So there's different ways that you can do this to dilute the power of that group. They call it cracking, which means you split up those people into different districts. So as they have only a little bit of say in each one of those districts, so they become a minority just because they got broken up. Or the other one is when blocking, or whatever they call it, when you put them together. So again, they still have less political power because it's all in one district instead of them having influence over multiple districts, which what it would be or should be, because those people are kind of spread out over a regional area. But they'll do this district, a big ass district, and packing, that's the word, and they'll pack all these people into that district, and it just dilutes the power of those people politically.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Like, I think that it's messed up, and really it should be based on the actual, like, however that land is separated based on, this town, this whatever, like, it should be just based on that instead of those imaginary lines that they continue to draw that oh, looking at people's addresses, who's there, blah blah blah, and then you see how funny that map looks like. All that those lines are crossing over into, and like pushing, like there might be a district right there that's a straight square where they got it looking like some new rectangle.
It'll look like a salamander, or it'll look like a freaking dream catcher or something. Like, it's totally no way to know the shape, because they'd be, like you said, they look at the addresses, they look at the census, they know where these people are, so they draw the district because they know voters gonna tend to vote how they tend to vote. You know what I'm saying? They already know how these people are gonna vote before they vote, so they put them in certain districts together or separate.
Yeah. What's up, Doc?
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
A majority of workers at an Apple store in Atlanta have filed a petition for a union election. If they vote to join the Communication Workers of America, the workers will form the first union at an Apple retail store in the United States. Union organizers say Apple employee pay has failed to keep up with inflation and Apple's soaring profits in recent years. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman, joined by Democracy Now! Co-host Nermeen Sheikh. Hi, Nermeen.
Hi, Amy, and welcome to our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
We good?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, my mic froze up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I do want to get into the meat of this. I'm glad that Doc is here, because this is, I think this is going to be entertaining for you, both of y'all, because y'all both know a lot about this stuff right here that we're about to cover. So, and you kind of got to know something about this stuff to be able to even fucking get it. So, and a lot of people haven't even made it this far in their studies. So, but Doc and Pat and I, the three of us, have already done enough studying to understand this stuff. So, just for fun, I'm gonna play a little bit of this one. Let me see. Can I play this? Secrets the Vatican don't want you to know. I'm just going to play this for fun, but this is kind of a segue into what we're about to talk about. We're about to talk about missing books out the Bible and that stuff.
1684, the Vatican removed 14 books from the Bible. To this day, there is no explanation as to why. The Vatican is happier with the not knowing. There were originally 80 books in the Bible when it was translated from Latin to English back in 1611. These days there are only 66. The missing books are known as the Apocrypha, which in Greek means hidden. The missing books include Esdras, Tobit, Judith, the Wisdom of Solomon, the Songs of the Three Holy Children, Bel and the Dragon, Maccabees, and the Prayer for Manasseh. Even stranger is that Jesus' name was spelled Aizas before these 14 books were removed. The church changed the pronunciation and spelling. If they had never changed anything, you'd pronounce Jesus' name as Yehoshua. Why were these mysterious books removed? There are many theories. Some say the contents of the books didn't fit in with the Roman Catholic Church's narrative, and so they were simply taken out. Some believe they made the Bible too long and too confusing, so they were removed. But there is no real answer. None of the books were particularly nefarious, and they don't seem to include any secrets. But for whatever reason, the Catholic Church chose to remove them from the Bible so that the Word of God was exactly what they wanted it to be. Number 9. Alien influences. Russian professor Genrikh Ludwig allegedly gained access to the secret Vatican archives in the 1920s and came upon some extremely disturbing information. Before I keep going, keep in mind that this has never been 100% confirmed. The story has been circulating for nearly a century, but we don't actually have the evidence that Ludwig was inside the secret archives. The story goes that Ludwig was allowed into the archives, where he discovered over 53 miles, 85 kilometers of shelving and 35,000 volumes of catalogues. There were documents from over 12 centuries of European history. While he was browsing through the seemingly endless corridors of ancient texts, he started finding things that didn't make sense. There were papers that discussed how aliens had influenced all the most ancient civilizations of the world, from the Egyptians to the Mayans. He also allegedly found historical records of nuclear-style weapons being
The
used
Mayans?
in ancient times. One text explained how the walls of Babylon were melted by a weapon that output monstrous temperatures. The professor was never able to leave the Vatican with these documents, so conveniently for his story, no one except him has ever actually seen them.
So, I think that the thought of being in that room, I'm sure that vault or whatever really does exist. So walking around there and shit would probably be a cool ass thing to do if somehow you was able to. As far as the aliens, we talked about that before. It was like, oh, black people did this, had to be aliens, you know? So like that's just racism. But the other part that's interesting is the part where they said about the melting of the wall and all of this and like nuclear weapons way back when. I've done some reading about that, and I think that that's true. They have some evidence of something. They don't know what caused it, and it could have been some kind of weapon that was more like a modern type weapon. News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show,